Hi everyone, welcome to AB Analytica. In this video, we will continue building on the last video. In the last video, we saw how to install Ollama locally and interact with a large language model using the terminal or command prompt. The video is linked in the description. In this video, we will see how to generate a chatbot using Ollama. We will use Python to communicate with the large language model. For this, we will use the Langchain framework. So this is the documentation to Langchain. Oh, it is a very good framework for developing applications powered by large language model. Without further ado, let's get into development. I have created a new folder and opened it in Visual Studio Code. First step we will do is we will view the terminal and create a virtual environment. I am using a Windows machine, and in Windows machine, the command to create a virtual environment is Python -m venv, and I will name a virtual environment named venv dot venv. If you are using a Linux or a Mac system, you can use Python 3 instead of Python, and it should work. Next step is activating the virtual environment. For that, we will use this command. Now the virtual environment is activated. So now I will create a Python file. Instead of a Python file, I will create a notebook IPyNB, a Jupyter notebook file. To run Jupyter notebook in VS Code, we need to install the IPykernel package. We will also require two more requirements to be installed. So now the IPython kernel library is installed. So now I will install the uh, dependencies. So now the required packages are downloaded. Next step is importing the library. Next, we will define the model. So we will use a Ollama LLM model, and we will use the model which is Llama 3.1. So this is the model which I have currently downloaded in my system. So that's why I'm using this model. Now we can chat with the model by using model.invoke command and pass the question to the model. Who is the president of? We'll just run this cell and see what the model is going to output. The model has come up with an answer, and as we can see, it is a very long answer. Joe Biden is the president of United States. He was inaugurated on succeeding Donald Trump. Please note that this information. Okay, so it is giving a lot of information, but we don't actually require such a verbose answer. So this we can control by using prompt templates. So for that we will import the templates from Langchain core.prompts library. So next step is defining the prompt. So we will give some additional instructions to the model. You are an assistant. Answer the user question below. Be concise and don't make up answers if you don't have. So we have now defined a multi-line query. So now we have to format the prompt template. Okay, so now instead of invoking the query directly in the model, we will first format the query. Prompt is equal to, and we will pass on this question as an argument. So for that, we should use the same variable name, and we will pass the prompt to the model. So what happens in this step is that this question will be appended here instead of the user underscore QA. It will be who is the president of USA, and this entire string will be passed to the model as prompt. Now let's run the cell and see how the model replies. Okay, so this is the new reply from the model. It is much more concise and much more precise information. Every time we have to make a query, these are the two steps we have to follow. So instead of doing it in two steps, we can chain the commands. So now I will make a chain. So first step is prompt template, and then it is piped to model. So now we can get the response from the model by invoking the prompt on chain dot invoke, and here we have to provide the arguments in a dictionary. So we will provide the same details, but this time it is in a dictionary, and it should reply the same. Now let's make the chatbot answer multiple questions. First, we will print a welcome message. And we will just give press Q to exit, just to take care of not running into infinite loop. We will take a user input. We will check if the user has inputted Q. If it is Q, then we will just print by, and break. If the user has given some valid input, we will use this. And instead of hard coding the query, we will pass on the query from the user, that is user input. We'll save it in a variable response, bot response, and we will print the bot response. Now let's run this cell. So in VS Code, the input text box appears on top. I will enter my question. What is the capital of France? So I made a mistake. If it equal to, if the user input equal to Q, then we will break, and or else we will run the bot in the real question. So I will enter what is the capital of France. It has come up with an answer. It is Paris. What are the main landmarks there? The bot currently does not have any information about the context. We are not, the bot does not know we are talking about Paris. So the new query which we entered, that is what are the landmarks there, the bot does not understand it is talking about Paris. Okay, I am not aware about the specific location. Could you provide more context or tell me where you are referring to? So for this purpose, we will have to use a context, and I will just press Q and exit. So we will need a string to save the context, and we have to edit the template also to include the context. Here is the chat history, and we will give the context here. Now when we are calling the invoke function, we need to pass context also, and we will pass the context variable. So initially when we run the bot for the first time, there is nothing, no chat history, so there is no context. And once we get the response from the bot, we can append that to the context. We will add the response also to context. So we will add both user input and the bot response in the into context. So we will use two f strings, one for user and the user input is user input and bot response. Now let's run this cell again. We will pass the same question. Okay, the bot has come up with the answer. What are the major attractions there? So now the bot has the chat history and now it can give a response related to Paris. How many days is recommended to visit these attractions? The bot has replied with an answer. 3 to 4 days are typically recommended to explore major attractions in Paris. Okay, so now we have successfully made a chatbot in Jupyter Notebook. Now we will convert it into a Python file. So for that, I will create a new file, chatbot.py. First, we will add the libraries, define model, then we will set up the template. Now we will do some refactoring. Instead of tying the chatbot to Ollama and the specific model, we can make it independent and we can choose any model by creating a new class and moving this into a new class. I will just define a function get LM model and it will take a model name and we will give a specific model name for this model, Ollama Llama 3.1. So now if we want to use any other model, maybe like if we want to use Gemini or GPT, chat GPT model, we can change it here. So we just have to change only one line here to change the model, and we can move this function, this to a different function. Okay, so now let's run the model and see what is the capital of UK. What are the main cities near it? Okay, it has replied with some meaningful messages. I will press Q and exit. So currently you can see the main method does handle the context and also ask the user for input. It is doing a lot of stuff. So it is better to take out some of the functionality from the main method and create another function to handle the context. I will name it chat handler. So these two lines can be moved to the chat handler function. The user input is not Q, then bot response will be given by calling the chat handler function. By passing in the user input. Okay, so now context currently is a string. We will change it into a list. So we will append the f strings to the context. Now the chat handler handles the context, and also it will pass on the user input to the chat function so that it can get the user response from the model. This abstraction will come in handy when we generate a front end for the application. So in the next video, we will generate a front end for the application using Streamlit, return the bot response. the context which we have here is a list, and what we need here is a string. So we will convert the context to a context string, and we will pass on the context string to the chat function. So for that, I will do slash n dot force in. Okay, this will take each item in the context list and add them separated by a new line character. So every chat will be passed on to the chat function as a string. So now let's run it and we will see how it performs. So now you can see that the model is working properly. So I have modified the function by adding some type hints, and also I have added some doc strings to explain what the function does. It's a good practice. It is not necessary, but any other person who is going through the code will find it easy to understand. So that's it in this video. I hope you have learned something from this video. If so, please press the like button and also provide your feedback in the comments. If you are new to the channel, hit the follow button. I will really appreciate it and you will not miss any future videos. In the next video in this series, I will make a front end for the app using Streamlit. See you in that video. Keep coding. Bye.